Hi there, it's Elaine Gardner, the founder of DesignYourHealthyLife.com. And today I want to talk to you about the winter blues. And as with most of my tips, I have a lot of personal experience in this area. So hopefully I can offer you some tips to help you if you struggle with winter blues. I first remember this issue starting for me in my mid-20s, and I didn't realize what was happening at the time. I really remember a day, a Saturday in the middle of the day, I'm still in my pajamas and hanging out on the couch and feeling just kind of didn't want to leave the house, didn't want to get dressed, didn't really understand what was happening. But this pattern kept repeating itself for many years, and finally I figured out that it was actually the winter blues. And one of the reasons why I had so much trouble recognizing that it was winter that was the trouble is because I loved winter when I was a kid. I loved being outside and ice skating and sliding and playing in the snow. So it really took a long time for it to sink in that that's what was going on with me. Now that I've realized that that is an issue for me, I've come up with lots of coping strategies. One of the most useful things that I've done for myself in this area is just the things that I do on a daily basis, my general health. Being really healthy every season of the year really makes a huge difference in the way that I feel in the winter. And what does that entail? That means getting enough sleep, which is certainly something that most people don't recognize the significance and the importance of. And something that I struggled with for a really long time, with so many musculoskeletal aches and pains, I had difficulty sleeping for many, many years of my life. So sleep is just something that I absolutely treasure and is an absolute priority for me, and it makes a huge difference in how I feel on a day-to-day basis, and is especially important for me in the winter when I'm feeling more, just not as lively as I do in the summer months or the warmer months. So sleep is my absolute number one priority, staying on track with my diet and eating really healthy, because those good foods that I eat really make a tremendous difference in my mood and the way I feel on a day-to-day basis, and keep my energy level and maximized. Staying active and forcing myself to go outside even though I don't like to be outside in the cold. So I try to get outside at least 2 to 3 times a week for my typical walk, which is about 3 miles. I bundle myself up nice and warm, I plug in my iPod, and off I go. And it really makes a huge difference in the way that I feel. I do have a rule that if it's below 20 degrees or really windy, then I don't go out, and I do exercise in the house instead. But getting outside, even when I have to force myself, makes a really big difference in the way that I feel, and keeps my mood and my energy up, and keeps my body from feeling sluggish and lumpy, I guess, like a lump, like a couch potato, I guess is a better way to say it. I've done lots of supplementation over the years. That's one of my areas of expertise, and certainly those things helped as well. Things like St. John's wort. While I don't recommend that you go out and buy these things in the store, because the quality of things in the supermarket are typically not what is going to be therapeutic and worthwhile. Definitely working with someone to help you find the supplements that work for you and keep your mood up and keep you steady and your focus and motivation up can be really, really helpful. And St. John's wort works really well for me in the winter. The one that I take is Standard Process, and it does have magnesium and calcium in it too. So it's really good for my muscles, which tend to tense up and get achy as I often brace myself. I find myself hunching to keep myself warm, even when I'm appropriately dressed when I'm outside in the winter. The cold and I just don't get along very well. So those are some of the tips that I find to be super helpful for me over the years. Fish oils can be really helpful to supplementation, but eating good healthy fats in your diet can really affect your mood and keep your mood up in times of seasonal distress. And what I'm finding this year is I did really well until the middle of January, and then it's funny how it just comes along and hits you and surprises you. Like you wake up one day and you're like, ugh, the winter blues are here. And I don't feel particularly depressed, which I have in past years, but it's more just like, oh, it's frustrating, it's winter, I want to be outside. And what really hit me hard last week was my motivation is lower in the winter. And I have so many things that I want to get done that it's not okay for me. I'm not happy when I don't feel motivated. So I'm pushing back against myself and fighting with myself, trying to push myself into action when my body is really telling me that all I want to do is kind of sit on the couch and watch a movie or sit on the couch and read a book. So I try to balance that to have more downtime and more quiet time while still getting things done. And I also realized that while I do have motivation for some projects, I don't have motivation for others. So we live in an older home and we typically have lots of things that we're working on in our house. And I just don't want to tackle those bigger projects like painting or sanding or anything like that in the winter. But I do find that I have an interest in going through old files and cleaning piles of paperwork or things of that nature. Cleaning more of those finer cleaning and organizing things. So I'm just trying to honor that and stick with those activities so that I still feel like I'm getting things done without pushing myself too hard, which just becomes an exercise in frustration. So it's almost the end of January. I am very much looking forward to the warmer months. I don't ever wish to have time go too quickly, but if I could bring warmer weather to myself more often, I would, and certainly that is part of my future plans, to live in a climate that is more supportive to my personality and my interests. But that's just not feasible right now while we still have children in school. So, as always, my intent in sharing all of these tips and tricks is to help you achieve the health and happiness that you deserve on a day-to-day basis so that you can have the life that you deserve. So I hope that helps you. I would love to hear about your comments if you suffer from the winter blues or any other seasonal blues, because certainly some people don't like summer or the high heat and humidity, and they find that very difficult. So if you have any tips and tricks that you want to share that really help you, we'd love to hear from you.